Welcome, age of vintage society. Ingrid Bergman was one of the most striking and effective actresses of her time. The Swedish actress is perhaps best known for her starring role opposite Humphrey Bogart in Casablanca. Ingrid Bergman was one of the biggest and most glamorous stars in Hollywood until she became one of the most controversial, when an international scandal threatened to end her career. Why was Ingrid Bergman censured by the US Senate for having an affair? Make sure to watch the video until the end and leave your thoughts in the comments. If you are new here, join our wonderful community by subscribing to the Age of Vintage channel. Ingrid Bergman's affair provoked scandal and a civil liberties crisis. Ingrid Bergman and her public censure by a United States senator. Radiant and expressive, Ingrid Bergman must stand next to Garbo as one of the most luminous foreign-born stars of the classical age. Plucked from Sweden's film industry by super producer David O. Selznick, Bergman refused a studio makeover, maintaining an unadorned look by 1940s standards of Hollywood glamour. As an actor, she was a consummate professional, keen to challenge herself and closely collaborating with her directors. Those collaborations even extended to Alfred Hitchcock, he of the famous "actors are like cattle" quip. Ingrid Bergman, born August 29, 1915, Stockholm, Sweden, Swedish actress whose natural charm, freshness, intelligence and vitality made her the image of sincerity and idealized womanhood. Bergman was only 2 years old when her mother died, and about a decade later her father also passed away. Although she was shy, she long dreamed of becoming an actress, and she worked assiduously for admission to the Royal Dramatic Theatre School in Stockholm, where she studied for a year. When Bergman arrived in Hollywood, she didn't want a new name, didn't want to wear thick pancake makeup, didn't want to straighten her hair, and rejected all attempts to pluck her bushy Nordic eyebrows. In the late 40s, Bergman wrote an adorable letter to Italian neo-realist director Roberto Rossellini, a man known for womanizing, owning the shit out of the beret and wearing sunglasses when most people in America were still squinting into the sun. But look at this letter. It's clear this woman was a spectacular flirt. Dear Roberto, I saw your films Open City and Paysan and enjoyed them very much. If you need a Swedish actress who speaks English very well, who has not forgotten her German, who is not very understandable in French, and who in Italian knows only ti amo, I am ready to come and make a film with you. Ingrid Bergman. Dear Roberto, I am ready. I will leave my husband and come to Italy to make a sexy black and white cultural commentary film with you. Bergman was obviously hard to refuse. Can you imagine Rossellini receiving this note? I picture immediate telegraphs to his neo-realism dude bros. Dear De Sica and Visconti, I got the Nordic Virgin. For the lead actress in his next film, Stromboli, Rossellini replaced his previous lover, Anna Magnani, with Bergman, and legend has it that Rossellini bet a friend he could bed her in 2 weeks, which may or not be true, but definitely makes the story better. So, when the married Bergman had an affair with a womanizing Italian director and bore him a child out of wedlock, America was scandalized. Behind Bergman's pristine facade, she was ambitious, driven and willful. She smoked, drank and had affairs, as did many of her male co-stars, but women were held to different standards. Though she was a popular success, Bergman longed to make more serious work, and wrote to Italian neo-realist director Roberto Rossellini. For his part, he hoped to capitalize on her tremendous box office draw. Neither quite anticipated how negatively the public would react to their unconventional union. In 1949, Bergman and Rossellini set off for an island off the Sicilian coast of Italy to film Stromboli. They had already flown into each other's arms. Bergman was married at the time to a Swedish surgeon, Dr. Petter Lindström, with whom she had a 10-year-old daughter, Pia. Rossellini was separated from his wife, Marcella de Marchis, but had had a public affair with the sultry actress Anna Magdani. Bergman wrote to Lindström asking for a divorce, but her angry husband declined to cooperate. Soon she would be pregnant with Rossellini's child. As public whispers about her affair became louder, Bergman was forced to acknowledge the breakup of her marriage. On August 5, 1949, her publicist released a press release in her name, according to People magazine. It was not my desire to make any statement until the conclusion of the picture I am now making, but persistent malicious gossip that has even reached the point where I am made to appear as a prisoner has obliged me to break my silence and demonstrate my free will. I have instructed my lawyer to start divorce proceedings immediately. Also, with the conclusion of the picture, it is my intention to retire into private life. Rumours of her pregnancy were reported in Italian newspapers, and the American gossip queen Hedda Hopper came to see for herself. Bergman and Hopper had lunch together, and Hopper asked point blank, "Are you pregnant?" Bergman, who was tall and athletic, dodged the question by asking, "Do I look it?" Hopper printed Bergman's denial, but that only delayed the scandal. By December, news was out, with headlines in LA shrieking, "Ingrid Bergman baby due in 3 months at Rome." The tabloids rained down invective. The experience of having my mother go from being a saint to a tramp in a few days was traumatic, daughter Pia told People magazine in 1986. Both my father and I suffered a tremendous sense of loss. The publicity was monstrous. I think she went through the rest of her life carrying a profound guilt. During her pregnancy, Bergman became a lonely hostage to paparazzi camped outside her apartment. Roberto was off working on another film. On February 2, 1950, she gave birth to a boy, Robertino. Bergman and Rossellini's film Stromboli opened in theatres in February 1950 and promptly bombed. The very next month, the Conservative Senator Edwin C. Johnson of Colorado denounced Bergman and Rossellini on the floor of the Senate. He proposed a bill intended to ban actors guilty of immorality and lewdness and moral turpitude and decide a movie's approval for licenses based on the moral compass of its producers. He called Rossellini a love pirate and a homewrecker. It was one of the more shameful moments in congressional history. A senator called out the iconic actress for having an affair, branding her a powerful influence for evil. Senator Johnson seemed to take Bergman's affair personally. Clearly what outraged Johnson about Bergman's unconventional free love conduct was his intense disappointment that she had not lived up to the ideal she obviously was, wrote David Schmidt in Ingrid Bergman, The Life, Career and Public Image. Hollywood's sweetheart is a celebrated international figure who has started a crusade against the holy bond of matrimony. Famed actress Ingrid Bergman's adulterous affair with Italian film director Roberto Rossellini caused an international scandal and a civil liberties crisis in the US. On this day, Senator Edwin Johnson delivered a vituperative attack on both Bergman and Rossellini and proposed a law that would require the US Commerce Department to license actors, actresses and film producers and permit the department to revoke licenses if found guilty of a crime involving moral turpitude or publicly admitting to such conduct. The 1934 Motion Picture Production Code, adopted on June 13, 1934, already exerted a heavy hand of censorship on American films. The proposed law would have extended government censorship to the private behaviour of actresses, actors and producers. Senator Johnson's bill did not receive serious consideration in the Senate. Across the US, public attacks on Bergman and Rossellini focused on the film Stromboli, during the filming of which the two began their affair and conceived a child. Both were married to other people at the time. The Birmingham, Alabama Ministers Association charged that the film tends to glorify adultery. The Syracuse, New York Common Council asked all movie theatres to ban all films starring Bergman or directed by Rossellini. Members of the Trinity Methodist Church in Los Angeles passed a resolution recommending a ban on any movie starring Bergman. Many critics attacked RKO Pictures for using the scandal to promote the film Stromboli. The ACLU-affiliated National Council on Freedom from Censorship denounced the growing censorship efforts as an outrageous and illegal denial of free speech and expression as guaranteed by the First Amendment. Films, it argued, must stand on what they show and stay, not on the personal conduct of the picture's stars. Prior to the affair and the resulting scandal, the Swedish-born Ingrid Bergman was one of the most successful actresses in Hollywood. The uproar over Bergman and Rossellini had many of the same qualities of hysteria, falsehoods and censorship efforts as McCarthyism. Senator Joe McCarthy had just burst on the scene with a speech in West Virginia on February 9, 1950, in which he made reckless claims about alleged communists working in the US government. Senator Johnson denounced Bergman as one of the most powerful women on this earth today, which certainly was news to her, Hollywood and the rest of the world. She and Rita Hayworth, he went on, were Hollywood's two current apostles of degradation. Johnson attacked Rossellini as vile and unspeakable, and in an August attack labelled him a fascist libertine and an active Nazi collaborator during World War II. In fact, Rossellini had worked on films for the Mussolini government in the early 1940s, but his first film, Open City, which brought him international recognition, was a powerful indictment of the suffering and repression by German authorities in Italy during the war. It is a final commentary on Senator Johnson that, despite serving 3 terms in the Senate, he is perhaps best known for his speech attacking Ingrid Bergman. He explained that his proposed law was only designed to put a leash on the mad dogs of the film industry. Given his rhetoric about Ingrid Bergman, it would seem that he was mad dog in this story. Though Bergman didn't immediately secure a divorce in the US, she was able to divorce and remarry by proxy through the Mexican court system, and so on May 24, 1950, she and Rossellini exchanged vows. She finally was granted a divorce from Lindström in November 1950. He won primary custody of Pia. Their passionate affair didn't translate into a successful marriage. Rossellini wanted her to stay home. Without work, Bergman was bored and listless. He soon returned to his privileged, womanizing ways. He spent money incautiously, and soon they faced mounting debt. She wanted to go back to work. He jealously refused to let her work with any other director. They fought often and bitterly. She fell into drink. Their films together bombed. Bergman gave birth to twin girls in June 1952, but by the time the girls were 5, their parents had separated. Rossellini battled for and won custody of the children. By then, outrage had died down. Bergman returned to acting. Anastasia wasn't a tremendous hit, but the public was so glad to have the Swedish star back that she received a standing ovation when she won the Best Actress Oscar in March 1957. "I've gone from saint to whore and back to saint again, all in one lifetime," she said. Bergman married the Swedish producer Lars Schmidt in 1958. Their marriage would end in 1977 when he had an affair and his mistress bore him a child, though by then an out-of-wedlock baby was congratulated, not castigated. No senators denounced him. Bergman died from breast cancer on her 67th birthday in 1982. If you liked this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe if you are new here, and if you want to support my work, please visit my Patreon page. Now it is your turn. What do you think about Ingrid Bergman and Rossellini's affair and the causes of it?